Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel, because in this episode I'm going to speak about my top 5 tools that the beginning blacksmith should get for themselves so that they can get themselves going. Okay, so my top 5 pick. We'll start at number 5 and then we'll work our way up to number 1. But the fifth, coming in 5th position of the most important tools that I believe you should have, is the wire brush. These are as cheap as chips. You can pick them up anywhere. You can get them brand new. You can get them second-hand. You can pick them up for pocket change. But they're very, very important because you need to clean your work, both as you're working it and then as you finish it for your final dress-up. You can't really go without one of these. They come in all different shapes and sizes. Look, here's one I bought. I bought this in a flea market, this thing. I put a little handle on it so I could use it like that. It's got very stiff bristles on it, so it's good for a good hard scrub, you know, a little bit stiffer than this type. They come in all shapes and sizes. They're very easy to pick up and they're cheap. And that's what you want. You want to economize if you're just going to start out in blacksmithing, because you've got to buy a lot of stuff. It can end up a very expensive hobby. But in the very beginning, it needn't be expensive. You can buy all these tools very, very cheaply. My number 4 pick for tools that I believe beginners should get themselves straight away, it's a hacksaw. After you've cleaned your work, and that's quite important, you need to be able to cut up your work. A hacksaw is almost indispensable to the beginner blacksmith for cutting up stock for when you want to start into the correct lengths and so on. Splitting stock like flat bar, you know, you need to split it down without having the splitting tools to do it with. You need something to cut it with. So a hacksaw is really, really handy. You can buy the frames cheap as anything. Of course the blades are a consumable, but they're not that expensive either. And so you can get yourself a variety of coarseness of teeth for your blades, and then you're fully armed and ready to go. The other cutting tool that I would recommend that every beginner get is one of these little hatchets. I bought this for a few cents at the flea market, but they're very, very handy. Not for chopping up wood. I'm not going to chop wood with it. This is for chopping through bar stock. Once you've got that bar stock hot, if you're watching blacksmithing videos, you would have seen it. You would have seen people using hot set cutters. The smith would be holding it, a striker would be, or maybe the smith does it themselves, hitting it this way down onto a piece of round bar. The other thing you might have noticed, they use Hardy tools in their anvils, which of course go up this way. This isn't to replace a Hardy tool, but what you can do with it is you can put it into a vise. You can lock it into a vise like that, and then this becomes like a Hardy tool, and then you can hit it with your hammer, cut your piece of work off. So as a substitute Hardy tool and a substitute hot set cutter, for a couple of cents, this little hatchet cannot be beaten. I recommend you buy yourself one if you're at a flea market, a junk store, whatever. That's number 4. My number 3 pick for every beginner's kit is old chisels. I got a little box load of these at a garage sale one day. Look, got a little box full of them. These are great because they're already tool steel. You can tell by the way it rings. These are tool steel. They come in different shapes. You can grind them down. You can shape them yourself. A little skinny one like this could be used as a center punch, for instance. You can grind all this off into a sharp little point. You can use it as a center punch. You can use this for slitting, drifting, all sorts of things. The possibilities are endless as to what you can do with them. And they're cheap. They only cost a few cents, but these are necessary. And in the beginning, you're not going to have the skills to be able to make them yourself from tool steel. You probably won't be working tool steel on your first day ever hitting something. And so these become indispensable, and they can be ground. You don't have to heat them up and ruin their temper and do all that kind of stuff. You can just give them a little bit of a grinding and you're in. How simple is that? And cheap. That's number 3. Let's move on now to my number 2 pick for every tool that an aspiring, learning blacksmith should have in his kit. Pliers. That's right, pliers. These ones, which I picked up, I can't even remember where I got them now, but these ones are all metal. The handles are quite long on them, so even when I put them on my hand, look, you can see that they're a good way away from the hot metal would be here, hands over here, so I'm fairly safe there. You can still get a good grip. I mean, these aren't tongs, but they're meant to be a substitute for tongs until you can make your own. They didn't cost very much. These ones have been repaired. Look, someone's welded that bit back on there. So to the person, and they're a bit loose as well. The person that made these or were using these in their business or whatever, putting up barbed wire fencing or whatever they were doing with them, they became useless to them. And therefore, they become useful to you because you can get them really, really cheap. And they're good for holding on to hot metal. So that's my number 2 pick. Get yourself these if you can find them somewhere. That's why I bought these, so that I could show you that these are a really good thing to have. Now, up to number 1 now, my absolute number 1 pick for what a learner blacksmith should go out and get themselves to assemble their toolkit. This is a 2-pound ball peen engineer's hammer. There are thousands of these everywhere. You can pick them up for $1 or $2, you know, or £1 if you're in England or whatever. This was the very first type of tool that I was asked to go and buy when I started learning blacksmithing 25 years ago. I said, what do I need? What do I need to get? They said, just turn up with one of them. That's it, that's all you need. So I went down the shop, went and bought one. It was brand new. I got it out of a hardware shop. It wasn't a couple of cents, but the fact is it wasn't that expensive either. And that was the only thing I had. Trotted off down to the forge, turned up with that and started forging. Later on, once you're rummaging around more, you get used to, you know, you sort of train your eye to go looking for different things. You might pick up a blacksmith's hammer or two. And who knows, in the future, you might even forge your own hammer. But I'm not talking about advanced smithing now, like hammer making and tempering and all that kind of thing. I'm talking about the guy that wants to turn up on day 1. This is my number 1 pick for what to get. Get yourself a ball peen hammer. Don't go more than £2. That's just my advice. That's just my opinion. Otherwise, you go too heavy, you're going to blow your elbow out because you're going to be hammering all day, whack, 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 having the time of your life. And you're going to go home with tennis elbow if you try and use one of these massive hammers like you see, you know, 4, 5, 6 pound hammers that you see people using on the internet. Completely ridiculous. And you don't need it when you're a beginner. So quickly to recap, get yourself something to clean your work, get something to cut your work, get something with which you can punch and shape your work, get something you can hold your work with, and get something you can hit your work with. And that's all you need. Apart from a fire and an anvil, you're in. And you can use that equipment from whoever that you're going to be learning off. So there you go. That's my top 5 pieces of equipment that I believe a beginner learner blacksmith should go out and get themselves. This entire table worth of tools, $10 max. That's it. $10, you're in. Get around those flea markets, get around those junk shops, go and get yourself all this stuff. You can probably acquire it all in one day. Put it into a little toolbox and go get yourself blacksmithing. Go on. So there you go, folks. This little video is over now. So if you found this information informative or anything like that, leave me a little comment down below. Yeah, that was helpful, or no, that was completely useless. You know, think about subscribing to my channel because I'm going to be making little videos like this, quite a few of them, and they might be useful to you in the future if you want to take up blacksmithing. So thanks for watching my little video. See you later.